Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Brothers and sisters, so today we'll discuss uh, the Sharia prohibition in our Muamalat. The first prohibition, which is the riba or usury, the major prohibition in the Sharia. So after we have learned the formation of the contracts and different pillars, so the next three chapters will be discussing the prohibition in our transactions. And the first and foremost, the major prohibition is riba or usury. So what is this riba or usury? The Arabic word riba means increase and addition and extra. So the definition of riba, it is defined. There are a lot of definition of riba. So I have picked up two definitions because I found not all of the definitions are conclusive. Some definition just define one type of riba and leave other. So here is Imam al-Jassas, one of the famous classical scholar. He said riba, it is a loan given for stipulated period with stipulated increase on the principal payable by the loanee. So here, so this is a contract of loan. Okay, in a loan contract that we call by where uh, there is an increase in the payment of the loan. Okay, the first, there is an increase when the loanee or the borrower will repay. So there is an increase and it is stipulated in the contract. So when there is a loan contract where there is stipulation that the borrower will return an extra amount. So okay, and then it will be riba. Okay, and with an increase. Okay, and then also is related to time, because the loan given for a stipulated period for some time. So when the person will return the money, the borrower, after some time, he needs to pay extra. So that is, so this definition is a very classical definition of riba. However, it only talks about riba in borrowing and lending relationship. But there is another riba also, which is related to buying and selling. Okay, so this definition is given by Muhammad Ala al-Tanawi. Okay, he said riba is an increase without any corresponding consideration, which has been stipulated in favor of one of the two parties in a contract of exchange. So here, he's talking about riba in a contract of exchange, in a buying and selling relationship, where one of the party will gain, uh, okay, will get an increased amount of money out of against no consideration. Means that the seller, for example, will get an extra money without any consideration. It may it how it happens. Okay, when for example the seller sells something on credit. Okay, when the seller sells something on credit with a fixed price, and when the buyer cannot pay the price on a stipulated date, and then the seller asks for extra amount because of the late payment if the seller takes longer time. So if if the seller says, okay, you take more time, you pay some extra, so it will be riba. So riba can happen both in a loan contract and also in a sale contract. Okay, especially okay, in a loan contract, it is quite obvious when there is an increase in the repayment, and it is stipulated in the contract that the borrower should pay an extra. And in a buying and selling, or in an exchange contract, the riba can happen when any one of the party, let's say for example the seller gets an increase of the payment without any consideration, or we call in Arabic is iwad, without any compensation for that. Okay, so as you see in a sale contract, of course one party, the seller will give the commodity and the buyer will pay the price. Okay, but when the buyer is late to pay and then the seller asks for extra payment, so that is riba. And that extra payment is not against any consideration, means the seller is not giving any extra commodity or what, so it will lead to riba. And also there is another type of riba in buying and selling that we learn in the hadith. Okay, if we transact certain type of commodities and if we do not transact them equal, then it will be riba. Or if we do not do on the spot, then it will also be riba. That will discuss in among the types of riba. So now the prohibition of riba. The riba is prohibited in actually 5 stages in the Quran. At the first, it was Allah Subhanahu wa Taala said the first step that those who give zakah, they will get their wealth increase, but those who take riba, they will not their wealth increase. And then comes the prohibition of ribas. There are 3 steps of prohibition. The first, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala said, "Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la ta'kulu riba ad'afam mudha'afa." Do not consume usury double and multiplied. Okay, so here Allah Subhanahu wa Taala said, do not take consume riba which is double or multiply, or we can say compound interest. Okay, based on this verse, many said that so the Quran only prohibits the interest which is multiplied or compound interest, we can say right now. Okay, means that they will charge you interest, okay, one after another. Means if you, let's say your payment is due this month is 100, so you late, they will charge you 10 ringgit x interest. Okay, so you pay 100, you have to pay 110, but still you late next month to pay this 110, they will charge, let's say, another 10% of that 110. So that is the compound interest which is prohibited. So some argue or you know that Islam only prohibits compound interest, but the simple interest is allowed. But it is not, because the hadith clarifies all kind of interests are prohibited, and there are other verse also prohibited interest. And the scholar said this ada'afa muda'afa, this qualifier, okay, is not just to specify this. Rather, it gives just an extra meaning. Okay, means that all type of riba is prohibited, and don't even consume riba, which is double and multiplied. And then there's the second step of prohibition. After that is Allah Subhanahu wa Taala said, "Alladhina ya'kuluna riba la yaqumuna illa kama yaqumu alladhi yatakhabbatuhu ash-shaytanu minal mas." Okay, so those who take riba, okay, they will resurrect in the day of judgment in a state that they have been touched by the shaitan, so they will be insane. Okay, they will resurrect in the day of judgment like they are insane. Or some scholars say even in this dunya, those who transact with riba, they will have kind of problem of insanity sometimes, that they will not be sane. And after that, why Allah said that? ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ, this is because قَالُوا إِنَّمَا الْبَيْعُ مِثْلُ الرِّبَا, because these people, they used to say that sale is same like riba. But Allah said, وَأَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ وَحَرَّمَ الرِّبَا, that Allah has allowed sale, because sale, there is a exchange, there is a compensation for everything, the commodity against the payment. But riba, there is an increase without anything. That's why Allah said, "Ahallallahu al-bay'a wa harrama riba." And then faman ja'ahu maw'izatun min rabbih fantaha falahu ma salaf. So to those who have who stop after the guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has come, so Allah will forgive them. Okay. وَمَنْ عَادَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ. But who it still repeats, keep doing the involved with riba, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will enter the hellfire. Okay, and then in another prohibition in the Quran, the final prohibition during the Hajjatul Wada, okay, the final pilgrimage during the time of Rasulullah, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala revealed, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullah wa dharu ma baqiya minar riba in kuntum mu'minin. Fa illam tafa'alu fa'adhanu biharbin minallahi wa rasulih. So this is the final stage of prohibition. Allah said, "Oh, you believe, fear Allah, وَذَرُوا مَا بَقِيَ مِنَ الرِّبَا," and leave, okay, what is left from the interest, in kuntum mu'minin, if you believe in Allah. فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا, if you do not leave the interest, the riba, فَأْذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. So declare war against Allah and His Messenger. So how strong the verse is. If we do not leave riba, so we need to declare war and against Allah and His Messenger. And who can win against Allah in a war? So this is the highest level of prohibition. Okay, that makes the riba is a major sin that we need to get rid of. Okay, and then Allah continues, wa in tubutum falakum ru'usu amwalikum. So if you repent, if you come back from riba, so you just take the principle, la tazlimuna wa la tuzlamun. You will not be doing injustice and you will not be oppressed. وَإِنْ كَانَ ذُو عُسْرَةٍ فَنَظِرَةٌ إِلَى مَيْسَرَةٍ. And if the borrower, if he is in difficulty, so we need to look for is وَإِنْ تَصَدَّقُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. And if we as creditor, if we give sadaqah, if we forgive some part of the loan, so that is better, in kuntum ta'lamun, if we know. So with the Quran, okay, it is clearly and it is okay, declaring that riba is a major sin. Okay, so with after the so from the Quran, we can understand what type of riba the Quran prohibited. Okay, the first is advance a loan by stipulating excess over and above the principal. So that was the riba al jahiliyah that used to be practiced. People used to give loan and they would ask for an extra over the principal. And second, increase the payment amount and tenure when the debtor is unable to pay. Okay, so sometimes they just give loan without interest, but when and there is a fixed date, and when the borrower cannot pay on the fixed date, then the creditor will say, okay, if you cannot pay on this date, so I increase time for you, but you also give pay extra. So that is also another form of riba. And then in a deferred sale, number 3, the seller used to increase the amount due and give more time. So if somebody bought a thing on credit and let's say he's supposed to pay on a fixed date and he cannot pay on that date, then the seller said, okay, I will increase the time to pay, but you need to pay extra. So that will also involve riba. So that is the riba al jahiliyah that used to be practiced before the prophethood of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this riba al jahiliyah is prohibited in the Quran. Okay, now we can see the prohibition of riba in the Sunnah. So actually, scholars they divide the riba into two: riba al-Quran, prohibition of riba in the Quran, and Sunnah. Because in Sunnah there are two categories of riba. First, it reaffirms, okay, it confirms what Allah Subhanahu wa Taala mentioned in the Quran, and then the Sunnah also introduces a new type of riba. It mentions another type of riba, in that is the riba in sale contract that we learn soon. So okay, so what is about the first category of Sunnah? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said all riba outstanding from the riba prevalent during the pre-Islamic era is void. So Rasulullah declared all the transactions based on riba before Islam is void. It is nullified. You are entitled to your principal money. Neither shall you oppress, nor shall you be oppressed. So it actually confirms what is in the Quran. And then the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cursed the one who charges riba, he who gives it, the one who records it, and the two witnesses, saying that they are all equal. Okay, so this is just an extension of the prohibition of the Quran, okay, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, those who involve with riba in any form, okay, those who write, who record, okay, so those who work in conventional banks, those who involve with giving conventional finance, interest based loan, so all actually come under this prohibition. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of us. And then the second category of sunnah, that the sunnah introduces a new type of riba, which is understood from this hadith. The messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, gold for gold, silver for silver, wheat for wheat, barley for barley, dates for dates, salt for salt, light for light, in equal weights, from hand to hand. If those species differ, then sell as you like, as long as it is from hand to hand. So based on this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, if we transact gold for and with another type of gold, silver with another type of silver, we must transact equal. 1 kg of gold should be sold for another kg of gold. It is okay. If we sell 1 kg of gold for 1.5 kg of gold, so it will be riba, regardless of the quality of the gold. Similarly, the silver, okay, and then the foods, wheat, barley, and all this. If we sell 1 kg of wheat with 2 kg of wheat, then it will be riba. And then also the Prophet said, hand to hand means it should be on the spot. Okay, so if we transact, okay, gold, if we buy gold or silver, gold, so we should transact hand to hand, so spot. So based on this, okay, we can actually get these three principles, okay, the form of riba. A transaction of money for money of the same denomination where the quantity on both sides is not equal. So the scholar said the gold and silver actually represents money right now. So if we transact ringgit for ringgit, so it should be equal. If we transact 5 ringgit for 5 ringgit, it is okay. But if we transact 5 ringgit for 10 ringgit, it will be riba. And then barter transaction between two weightable or measurable commodities of the same kind where the quantity on both sides is not equal. So if uh, we transact 1 kg of wheat with 2 kg of wheat, it will be riba. So any item, any commodity is okay. So the scholar said the 4 items in the hadith is means that the food stuff basically that can be stored, or some say it's like staple food. The most accurate opinion is that it is a food stuff that can be stored, like, okay, a rice for example, okay. So if we want to exchange rice for rice, so we must exchange 1 kg for 1 kg and on the spot, okay, or 2 kg for 2 kg. And number three, a barter transaction between two weightable or measurable commodities when delivery from one side is deferred. Okay, so when we transact, let's say gold for gold, okay, so at that time we have first condition, we must do the same transact quantity, and the second uh, okay condition is that it should be on the spot. So if we exchange gold for gold, it should be on the spot. Okay, and then now another principle, if we exchange gold for silver for example, so at that point also we have to do it on the spot. Okay, even though we do, it should not be the similar. Okay, it should not be similar. That's why the last part of the hadith said fabayu kaifa itu means if you exchange among the different types of these six, then you can exchange without having the similarity in measurement, but it should be on the spot. So if we exchange gold with silver, then it should be on the spot. So similarly nowadays, if we exchange ringgit for US dollar, so it should be on the spot. If not, it will be riba as well. Okay, so there's a question that is the riba al-buyu that we learn from the hadith, is it confined to this six item in the hadith? Okay, some scholars say we do not understand what's the reason for this riba. So it is only confined to these six. However, the majority of the scholars said no, it is not confined to these six. So the gold and silver represent currency value. So right now, the principle of gold and silver will apply to currency. So if we transact between ringgit and US dollar, we must do on the spot. If we transact dollar for dollar, it should be a similar amount and also on the spot. And then the remaining, the four item, the dates, barley, and okay, so these item represent food stuff that can be stored. So any food stuff that can be stored, okay, it's not vegetables like rice, for example, it can be stored. Okay, so this type of food item, if we transact, okay, if they are the same item, similar item, then we need to transact similar amount and also on the spot. But if we, let's say, transact dates for rice, for example, so we need to transact on the spot. Okay, so here we can see not all the items are ribawi item, but the six, and then the item that comes under the six. Okay, so for gold and silver we got currency, and for the remaining four, okay, for dates we got something, food that can be stored. Now, so based on this discussion, okay, from the Quran and Hadith, so we can conclude the type of riba. Okay, the first is riba ad-duyun, riba in loan transactions. That is very clear, crystal clear. Any increment, okay, in a loan contract given to the creditor is okay, riba. And then the second type is riba al-buyu, riba in sell transactions that we learn from the Hadith. So there are two type of riba. One is called riba al-fadl. Fadl is excess. Means that when we transact between the two, and then there is an excess in amount. So if I sell 1 kg of gold for 1 kg and 200 gram of gold, so it will be riba al-fadl because of excess. Another one is riba an-nasi'ah, riba because of the deferment, because of late. So if I exchange 1 kg of gold for another 1 kg of gold, but that 1 kg of gold, the payment will be after 1 month. So that is also riba because of the deferment. It should be on the spot. If I exchange silver for gold, for example, so and the silver will be paid after 1 year, so it is riba. Or even if I buy gold for money, okay, I go to any gold shop, I buy gold, and then the payment, if I say I will pay after 1 week, it will be riba. Okay, however, okay, during the online transactions and international transaction, the Maliki scholars and even the Malaysian fatwa is that if we buy gold and silver online, okay, 3 days is still considered spot transactions due to the necessity. Okay, so if we buy gold or silver online, make sure they will deliver within the six official days. That is due to the necessity of an online transaction. But more than that, it will involve riba. Okay, and then there is one legal maxim we need to be clear to understand the riba, especially the riba ad-duyun. Any benefit provided to the creditor by the debtor is in a debt transaction is riba. Okay, it is actually a narration of the Sahaba, the statement of a Sahaba. He said, "Kullu qardin jarra naf'a fahuwa riba," and it is accepted among the scholars. So any benefit provided, okay. So in the modern days, sometimes there are different ways to legalize riba. People are always looking for backdoors. So sometimes the borrower, when he borrowed money, instead of giving extra cash, they give some kind of present or gift, or they give another type of service. Okay, so that and if it is stipulated in the contract, it will be riba. Okay, an example, let's say I give somebody loan. Okay, 100, okay, 100,000, I gave him loan. Okay, with the condition that he will return to me that 100,000 plus I'll be able to use his car. Okay, use his car as long as he cannot return. Okay, or during this tenure. So you see, I'm taking the benefit of using his car. So this is also riba. Okay, so there are many examples to for this. Okay, and then okay, so now let's talk about why riba is prohibited. Okay, you can the wisdom, and there are a lot of lectures I have shared with you, okay, by the prominent scholars, okay, why riba is prohibited. You can see this picture talks gives us a lot of message. Okay, it's a oppression, it's actually crime against humanity, and all the major religions, Judaism, Christianity, all of them actually prohibited riba. All the countries, US, UK, they used to prohibit riba, but because of the empowerment of the capitalism, okay, they actually gradually changed the financial system, and they have introduced the riba based financial system. You can see from the president of Nigeria. So the Nigeria borrowed 5 billion, okay, in 1985, and they already paid 16 billion, but still they have to pay more because of compound interest. Okay, or he said all that we have borrowed up to 1985 or 1986 was around 5 billion, and we have paid about 16 billion, yet we are still being told that we owe about 28 billion. That 28 billion came about because of the injustice in the foreign creditors' interest rates. If you ask me what is the worst thing in the world, I will say it is compound interest. So with this, we can know how the developed countries, when they give loan, there is okay. So that loan comes with lot of things. It is giving the loan sometimes may turns out that it is a way to take over the country. Okay, when the country the developed when the developing country, the poor country, the third world country, when they cannot pay back, so they need to open the country. Okay, they need to be the beggar. They need to follow the conditions. Okay, they need to give power uh, to the developed countries on their natural resources, for example. So this is a kind of exploitation, also another type of uh, occupation, okay, that the developed country is playing, okay, or the international institutions like IMF, International Monetary Fund, they have been doing, and which mostly are actually controlled by the Jews. Okay, so there are some more dangers of riba. We can see that there's no economic gain because one party is gaining. Okay, the creditors they are gaining, but that money is not adding anything in the economy. Okay, they are just gaining money out of nothing, and it also destroys the brotherhood. Okay, if you now the Muslim society is there's no brotherhood. If somebody is in difficulty, he needs to borrow, nobody is going to give you cash unless you buy okay, you borrow with interest. So there's no brotherhood, okay, which is a very very sad. But Islam says about qardul hasan, and the reward for qardul hasan is more than giving donation. Okay, one of the major contributors towards inflation, as we know how bad is the inflation, and right now also we can feel from 2017 how the inflation. Okay, you can see the US dollar in 1975, the 100 US dollar is equal. Okay, it's not the same at 2020. Okay, so the 100 US dollar now is equal to 20 US dollar in 1970s, for example. Okay, so why this thing happen? Because of the inflation, too much. Okay, the printing of money, but there's no economic growth. Okay, so you see, when there is a too much inflation, high inflation, people will be stressed. We have money, but we cannot buy. Okay, when we have when we study, we start our job with 2,000. Okay, uh, we think that okay, that is enough, but after sometimes it's not enough. Okay, because of the inflation, the price of the things going up, and money cannot buy. And then the causes of deflation to the debtor, especially for business loans. Okay, when the debtor he borrowed and then he thinks about the interest and compound interest, they will be stressful. So when they are stressed, it will stop their creativity. It will stop them take risks. It will stop them to to make something new, to open up. Okay, rather when they are stressed, they look for illegal ways because to fulfill their the payment. Okay, that's why many there are a lot of cheating in businesses, maybe somehow related to loan. They are they are the entrepreneurs, they are stressed, okay, to how they will pay back. Okay, a sure gain for the creditor without any possibility of loss. So the creditors, they will just sleep in their homes, they will not do anything, but confirm they will get okay their profit. So which is okay. So with this, there is a monopoly in society. That those who are rich, they are getting richer and richer. Those who are poor, they are getting poor and poor. Okay, can you imagine? Okay, those who are working very hard, okay, to and then they borrow, and then when they have to pay interest, so when those sometimes they just finish their whole life. Okay, and I have experience even for personal loans. Okay, people take, they have to pay back some double. Can you imagine? Well, there are people in difficulty, they cannot pay even the principal. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of us from this riba. With this understanding, may we have, okay, may we have the determination that will not involve with riba in our life. We'll protect ourselves, our family members, our society from involving with this riba, and will not cooperate with the transaction of riba. And we try to help people to come with the replacement of riba, which is trade, okay, with mudaraba and musharaka and others. So with that, we conclude. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.